Welcome home, Hartford. Dillon Stadium playing host to its first match in many, many years. Barberino Nissan presents tonight's telecast from Hartford, Connecticut. It is historic Dillon Stadium's reopening night. Renovations are complete, and Hartford Athletic tries to get their season back on track as they welcome one of the Eastern Conference's top sides, Indy 11. Hi, everybody. Mike Watts, former USL Championship coach. Dale Schilly on the call for this one. Dillon Stadium has been around for a very long time. The Bicentennials, the Wildcats, now Hartford Athletic. $14 million of renovations over the last 12 months. New bleachers, locker rooms, a press box in the field. They've got a temporary video board and sound system. Those will be done soon enough as well. So, Dale, you think about the match tonight, and Danny Barrera has been with this team now for a month. He may play a different role than we're used to.
You know, Danny Barrera has been signed recently by Jimmy. He was the all-time assist leader at Sacramento Republic. And, you know, we may see him as a deep holding midfield player. We may see him as a tucked-in wide guy. Who knows? He could play underneath as a 10. But Jimmy's relying on him to make that final pass to help create some goals. Yeah, they need goals. And, you know, you think about great goal scorers. In the championship, two of the great ones are in this game. Dane Kelly and Jose Angulo do it very different ways. Two of the most prolific scorers in the history of the league, and just two completely different guys. Angulo finds gaps, a schemer, tricky, finds the right spaces to get into the score. Dane Kelly, powerful, athletic, runs past you, a great finisher.
Well, will one of them find a goal tonight? Neither has found their top goal-scoring form yet this year, but it's Indy 11, second in the Eastern Conference, playing Hartford for the second time. It was tight last time around. Will it be the case again tonight? Indy 11, Hartford Athletic, coming up next. They're taking the field. Dillon Stadium in Hartford. Finally time to open the doors, and the fans are out in force tonight. With Dale Schilly, Mike Watts, the sun is out, and Hartford trying to knock off an Indy 11 side that's been so very good this year. Dale, two changes. Angulo and Williams are in. Your eyes at center back. It's more a change of position for Rasmussen.
Yeah, you know, Hartford's going to have to figure out how to score goals, but they're also going to have to figure out how to prevent goals. They've moved Phil Rasmussen back to the center of the back. He's played as an 8. He's played as a 10. He'll be good with distribution. We'll have to see how he does on the defending side.
Jimmy Nielsen leading the side in his first season. Meanwhile, the starting lineup for Indy 11. Evan Newton moves back into the starting lineup. They also return Patty Barrett. But you're looking at Eni Voltson and Kelly. This might not be the 3-4-3, it appears.
Well, we're missing Tyler Pasher as well, who scored 5 goals and an assist in the month of June. We'll see if Watson ends up dropping back into a left midfield spot and Indy 11 play with 2 up front with Kelly and Indy Volson.
Martin Rennie leading that side in his 2nd season, an impressive coach who this year has everything steered in the right direction. This Indy 11 side has allowed just 10 goals this year. It's been remarkable. And Dale, it's going to be a very difficult task today for Hartford. If you want to open up your stadium, make an impression, win this game, that is one heck of an impression.
And I think you said open up, and that's going to be the difficult part for them. In order to win games and to help excite the crowd, you want to score goals. But once Hartford opens up too much, they're going to leave themselves vulnerable to Indy and their ball possession and on the break.
How about this? Rally towels out, and this stadium, which has not hosted professional soccer since the 70s, got one remarkable facelift. Hartford Athletic is finally home. Professional soccer in Hartford, in the Nutmeg State. It's been long overdue. It is a major sports market that for so long has not had a professional franchise to call its own. The United Soccer League Championship came calling last year. Jimmy Nielsen could feel it from the outset. He knew how special this could be. Dillon Stadium is open for business. Hartford Athletic, welcome home. Indy 11 playing the inaugural game at this newly renovated stadium. We're underway from Connecticut.
It's got to be like starting the season all over again for the Athletic guys. They are, I'm sure, very excited. It's like starting over and getting a new breath on life.
Martin Rennie mentioned it too. He expected Indy to run into a loud atmosphere, maybe not the biggest stadium, about 5,500. Obviously, Rentschler Field a wee bit bigger. As comes Indy pushing into the final third. And the cross, which was aimed for Dane Kelly, deflects out early corner for Indy 11.
Be interesting to see how we get matched up, how Hartford lines up. We have Indy with good players in the air. I'm sure we'll see Patty Barrett get forward. I'm sure we'll see Wimet get forward. Obviously, Neville Hackshaw will get forward as well.
Wimet, 50 and white, hasn't scored this year, but always an option for a Bank of America corner kick. Service is knotted down and just wide in the end.
Little push in the back there against Indy on DeVitt.
Let's take a look at tonight's injury report. It's brought to you by Trantolo and Trantolo. Starikov was questionable, not in the starting 11. Dalgard and Gentile have been missing for a while, but will return. Tyler David has dealt with an injury that should see him out for the foreseeable future, and then some. Bouncing toward Watson. He's a little more central than perhaps a Tyler Pasher would be, as this will run all the way back to Newton. Off to Patty Barrett, one of the FC Cincinnati players, along with Walker, Newton. The move over when FC Cincinnati made the move to MLS. Charging out of midfield, that takes a wicked deflection. Ryan Williams broke up play.
Looks as if Indy 11's in a 3-4-3. As we see Watson and Indy Volson underneath Dane Kelly up top. And they're building with their traditional 3 out of the back.
Dale, I talked to so many coaches around this league about venues they're tough to play at. I hear St. Louis mentioned a lot, not because it's cavernous and enormous, but because it's tight, constricting. Players look around. Dane Kelly played through. Kelly on the first time went through the legs of Due and gets out for a corner.
That's what we spoke about in the pregame. Dane Kelly's ability to run right in behind. He's just powerful and explosive. Here we have a little combination. Ball gets played in. Dane Kelly gets in behind. Almost goes 5-hole on Dewey.
If you're Dewey and you've got a goalkeeper, an all-star goalkeeper as your head coach, there's got to be some head scratching right now.
That's right. But a tough to deal with. You have the whole goal to shoot at, and a goal scorer there to hit it.
Second to Indy 11 corner. Over Hackshaw. And head straight down. Indy Voltson on the first time. So well over the crossbar.
Corner kicks are going to be tough to deal with for Hartford. They doesn't seem they can get matched up properly. That's 2 corner kicks. Two balls that were first onto by Indy 11. There they have a second ball chance and a deflection out of bounds. Third corner kick in the first 5 minutes of the game.
And it's the impressive Iose who moves over. He was an ASL Golden Ball nominee. He was with New York Cosmos. Iose this time not off the foot of Hackshaw. How quickly can Hartford get the other way? Is this a transitional game for Hartford in nature?
I don't think so. I think at first they're going to have to get onto the ball. You know, Indy is good in transition. The back 3 are solid. The 2 center midfield players, Tyler Gibson and Kenny Walker, are good in transition, and they're also good individual defenders to stop the break.
Watson charging forward, having deposited the ball. When I think about stadiums in USL Championship, I think of St. Louis. How the fans there make it so difficult to play in a stadium that isn't the biggest, but nobody wants to play there. And I think Hartford could have that here.
It's very similar. I was thinking the same thing at kickoff, or waiting for kickoff. It sounded the same. Same chance.
Yeah.
Looks the same, similar jerseys.
Ball for Kelly, steered out, fell to Macaulay King. Reminding you of a former gig.
That's right, a former gig and a former sound.
Similar colors too.
Similar colors. Never played Indy 11.
Jose backing around Gibson. King, his 11th appearance this year, former Leicester City youth. That ball chipped down by Kelly. Comes to Watson. Plays it wide. King stepping inside, slipping ahead. It's been an impressive start for Indy 11.
Yeah, and you know, on the other side, this is what the game's going to look like for Hartford. They're going to have to be comfortable defending for a long period of time. Don't get rattled, stay organized, maintain your shape, communicate. And then when you win the ball, you're going to have to connect your first couple passes so you can get out of your half of the field.
Well, they had, but Angulo has it stripped by Gibson. Another FC Cincinnati player that made the move, although he dealt with a fractured fibula last year.
Good to see him back. He's such a good player. Just very insightful, simple, good for his teammates.
Watson approaching, maybe looking for Indy Voltson at the top of the 18. It whizzing toward Kelly and cleared another Indy 11 corner.
This will be interesting to see Watson play without some of the defensive responsibilities that he's bridled with when he's playing as a wide midfield player deeper on the field. Now he's playing underneath Dane Kelly, and he's going to have the freedom in the front half. It'll be interesting to see what his experience lends him to try.
God bless the tuba player over in that section. It's 87 degrees.
I'm just proud that you knew it was a tuba.
This effort off the forehead of Hackshaw and out. Goal kick coming for Hartford, and Hartford Athletic would like to extend a special thank you. Title partner Trinity Health of New England. Taking part in this expansion season for Hartford Athletic that's seen the average attendance actually bigger than the capacity of the stadium they're playing in tonight. It's
It's a great atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a great atmosphere. It's great for the players to be able to play in this environment.
Barrera, nice ball forward. Launched across toward Vucic.
And that's Danny Barrera. That's what he does. He gets on the ball. He picks his head up. He can find spaces behind the back four. He's phenomenal.
This cross toward Angulo. Toward Vucic. And this ripped high by Ryan Williams.
And that all comes from Barrera's incisive ball behind the back four that leads to possession in the throw-in in the front half of the field, and from it they get a chance.
Williams hasn't scored yet this year, but to say he was beloved in Ottawa might be an understatement.
A little stretch there from Hartford. I don't know that you want to be stretched that far from your two center backs to your first line of pressure. Indy will pick you apart.
Throw coming for Harry Swartz. Barrett, simple touch.
Better defending in midfield, more compact.
Barrera faces up. Swarmed now. Angulo, Lee trotting around. Angulo serving right at Newton.
You see Barrera slowing the guys down. Relax. Don't play so fast. You don't have to go forward so quickly. Let's get on the ball. So his experience is helpful.
You saw him a lot in Sacramento. I'm sure he tortured a lot of teams, perhaps yours included.
Yeah, you know what? We were fortunate to beat him 1-0. I don't want to tell you what the shot count was.
Yeah.
And yes, Barrera was very good.
I'm headed back and right to Kelly. Jose had to switch gears. If you're without Tyler Pasher, the arithmetic is different, but Jose up that wing is so aggressive. You miss him, but it's less than maybe another team would.
Yeah, what Tyler Pasher has given the team is this explosiveness and this like he gets on to 50-50 balls. He picks up loose balls and turns loose balls around the 18 into chances because of how quickly he gets at you.
Yeah, he turned it into 5 goals in June. That's second most in the championship behind only Solomon Asante, who's most everybody's pick for MVP right now. And here is Jose, the Spaniard, going to work.
It's interesting you bring up Iose because I think Tyler Pasher was probably penciled in to play in that left back spot in a 5-back system. And I think Iose's, not his emergence because he was good a year ago as well, but I think they thought Tyler was going to take over that position. Iose's been good. Tyler stepped in up front, started scoring goals, and you couldn't take him out of the lineup.
All of a sudden, you've got a wicked left side of the field.
Yeah, exactly right.
Martin Rennie there, middle of your screen. His second year, 44-year-old.
Martin's one of the best. It's not a coincidence that the team is on the roll that they're on. He's quite good.
I thought you were going to say it wasn't a coincidence he was such a good salesman in a previous life, because he really does sell what they're doing quite well, which is good when the product is as advertised.
Well, and you have to sell the players on your system and your philosophy, and he does that extraordinarily well.
This will be a free kick for Indy 11. Your guy, Janchuk, is the referee for this affair. His name is without pronunciation guide, sadly, so if it is butchered, our sincere apologies. Hopefully we don't need to say it often. Hackshaw put it back in play. And it was critical in the back for Hanhauser and Charleston the last 3 years. Barrett. Knocked away by DeVitt. sprinting onto it. And Ryan Williams helps to steer that out of harm's way.
Going to jink Harry Schwartz, but he's dropped back into a right back spot, and so far he's been okay. He's gotten after a little bit. He's been decent in his first pass. He's been okay in 1v1 defending situations, as now he finds himself in a 2v1, but sorts it out all right.
Hackshaw a long, long way away from home. Has won a corner for Indy.
I think that's the 5th corner kick of the half. And I'm sure we'll see.
That's good math.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see. They'll see Neville Hackshaw and Neville Hackshaw on the end of this, the target again.
It is the 5th coming up for Indy. There have been 5 so far. Hartford 1. Hackshaw has been the target man. He's easy to identify from the air. Explosive player, explosive hair. Jose waiting his turn here. 8 assists last year. The numbers just a tick down so far. A lot of movement in the area.
Good win.
Away from Patty Barrett.
Jorgensen with a big win there in the header inside the 6.
Hackshaw on the second ball, sliding down. Maybe Hartford can get out in transition here. Vucic spins. Dixon running down the middle. First time he's touched the ball today. Through the legs of Lee. Angulo.
You know, Angulo's playing wide in midfield. I like to see him tuck in a little bit more there in the position that's in between the 2 channels where he can do his most damage. Makes him a threat.
Working off Lee here. Angulo can play wide, but his greatest success has often been as a lone 9. But with Vucic, I imagine you're just trying to get your 2 best players on the field.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out how to put your best 11 on the field at one time, and you're trying to make up a system, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but you're trying to make a system work for the players that you have.
And Vucic commits a foul. As the big number 9, wearing 12.
Going back to Angulo, it can work. If he tucks in a little bit, Ray Lee likes to get forward as a left back, and it could be a good combination in the left channel. Now just settle in and defend. Don't get crazy, Hartford. Just stay organized and defend.
King, good let. Watson tried to tuck it back in for him. Leading ball, Williams.
Yeah, I don't see that Hartford's going to be able to get out on the break much unless Alex Dixon is able to find the right moment and the right ball comes. Otherwise, I think this is the way they're going to have to play.
Jose tucked down.
You know, one thing we can watch for as the game goes on, if Hartford is going to be in possession in the front half of the field and they're going to be able to knock 6, 8, 10 balls together in the front half, then they should have numbers to repress when they lose it. They weren't really committed there, and they end up committing a foul. You know, when you have that many numbers in the front half, when you give it away, you should be able to get pressure on it and prevent the ball from going forward.
How much of that is perhaps the 90-degree weather, the explosiveness of Indy on the counter? How much as a coach does that play into how much you're willing to repress once you do lose it that high?
I think that based on the fact that guys didn't drop and get organized in a way that was look like it was something systematic or purposeful. I think that it was guys just switching off and not switching on in the transition moment.
Well, for Kelly, that's won by Sem DeVitt.
What a ball by Kenny Walker. A head pass. It was almost impossible to deal with, and he cleaned it up.
Not Kenny Walker's first rodeo.
No, not the first time he had to clean up a bad ball.
th minute here. Scoreless affair in Hartford. Vance Hartford Athletics next home match, Saturday, July the 20th, 5 p.m. kickoff again. Single game tickets start at just $16. You get your tickets today, hartfordathletic.com. Call the Hartford Athletic ticket office or email tickets@hartfordathletic.com for more information. Contact there. In the end, it'll stay with Hartford.
Going to have to be courageous enough to play balls into Barrera's feet when he finds little gaps, because he can be the guy like this that can turn and play forward when other guys aren't brave enough to do it.
Especially when Hartford's trying to break down the most prolific defense in the league statistically.
You're right. You're going to have to, in that moment when you can get it forward, you're going to have to play it. Otherwise, you're not going to get in.
This slipped ahead. Barrera looking for the cutback ball. Instead, will accept the corner for his hard work.
It's a good build-up. Good play from Hartford to earn a restart. Got two guys that can hit good restarts now. Jorgensen can hit good restarts. Barrera can hit a good restart. A couple of options now for anything around the 18 or corner kicks.
Driven ball, Vucic deflects around. There's an appeal there for a handball. That is out for a goal kick. If anything, that got Vucic's arm. I say this endearingly, and Indy 11 fans certainly understand. Vucic played 22 games, 2015 and 2016 campaigns with Indy 11 here in the NASL. He's a bit of a bull in a china shop.
And that's what makes him good.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't try to be something different than what he is. He doesn't want to play like Angulo, or he doesn't want to play like Alex Dixon. He wants to be a guy in the 18 that scores goals.
Do you want to play 90 minutes against Vucic right now?
It's a great point. He punishes you.
Vucic this year trying to find that goal scoring format in Oklahoma City under Jimmy Nielsen. Only 2 assists this year, but a guy out of the Fire Academy in Chicago.
And you'd have to say, with what we've seen from Barrera so far, he will help provide some opportunity. And a lot of times it's not just the service, but it's the ball before the service that helps create the moment of goal. And Vucic will benefit from that. Good target play from Vucic.
When he was at his best in Oklahoma City, it's that ball from central midfield pinged out to a Dalgard or a Dixon and swung back across.
That's right. It's
Barrera here. It's an easy win.
Oh, he's going to smack it.
Jorgensen does have a howitzer, doesn't he?
There's a little bit of lack of width. Ray's going to have to give more width. Angulo can tuck in. Otherwise, the field's too narrow and you're not going to penetrate. There we go.
Nice spell of passing here.
Where's Schwartz at?
Got away a bit from Dixon, and that allows Iose to creep in.
What a battle that is over there. Iose and Dixon matched up head to head. That's a great battle for us to watch this season.
Dixon is down after that 50-50 challenge. He's dealt with injuries this year. Algard has. Gentile is out with that concussion right now. It's just a team that does not have the depth to deal with it right now.
I hope they're not looking at his hamstring. I don't think they are. Just looked like there's the collision. The two guys went down. Iose and he went down together. Maybe just a Charlie horse. Maybe took a cleat to the outside of his quad.
Hope he's not on the Trantolo and Trantolo injury report next week. There is a hydration break in this first half due to the 90-degree temperatures, and they're announcing over the sound system, which will be improved in coming weeks. It's one of the final pieces being added to this stadium that just recently got cleared. They were working through the night to have this place ready, telling fans to make sure they're staying hydrated and letting them know that if they need medical assistance, they can keep an eye out for one another, alert the right people. This is not scarf weather, but
it's going to be interesting to see how this field plays, or how the heat affects this field. We'll start to see some guys later on, if you start seeing them shuffling their feet and walking on their toes and trying to cool their feet off, maybe squirting water on them, then the turf is holding the heat. I've seen guys actually, the bottom of their shoes now.
Yeah. I don't know if it worked, but back in college on a turf field, there were some players on the team over in Fordham that put tin foil in the base of their shoes, trying to reflect the heat back. I think that was an old wives' tale. And obviously, you think Portland has dealt with some overheating of the turf issues with their NWSL team having to move games later in the day, and you just want the players to be safe more than anything. And they certainly did water the field down, as one would anticipate in the lead up to the game.
You can imagine what it's like to play a game on turf with blisters that were caused from the heat. It's next to impossible to do. So you find now there's a cream out that you can rub on the bottom of your feet that helps the friction, so you don't overheat, or your feet don't overheat. We get back to the game. You know, Indy, I thought, started pretty direct, had a couple of dangerous moments in the first 10 minutes, a couple good restart opportunities. But since then, the game has settled back down into more of a pull and tug, push and pull sort of game. Hartford, I think, has gotten through the excitement of playing in a new stadium, and now it's turning into a decent affair.
Dixon has returned. 11 in green, making his way back into position. King. Williams.
So we just saw a ball from Kenny Walker get played off the shoulder of the two central midfield players from Matt Watson that popped in between the lines. If Indy Volson and Watson find that gap just off the shoulder of the two center mids, it's going to be a long night for Hartford.
Ball bounces down, and this goes hammering off the head of Rasmussen. Indy Volson sending a rocket.
Rasmussen isn't used to seeing that at that part of the field. Maybe on the other end, he's trying to dodge it, but he's playing in the back now, so.
You and I were so interested to see how he'd do. He hasn't really been tested.
No, he's done okay. I mean, you know, he's organizing, he's communicating, he's taking a leadership role there, so he's obviously has insight. And look, Jimmy wouldn't put him in a position like that if he wasn't prepared to step in and perform.
Actually played with Danny Koenig in Denmark before making the move over to the United States. Koenig, a great scorer the past few years in Oklahoma City, and this ball struck by Indy Voltsen. That'll run simply to Dewey, also at FC Cincinnati. Dewey holding on to that Select ball that Indy Voltsen had just tattooed. Select, the official ball supplier, the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. The latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com. Hartford, bottom of the East. A win here could do them a world of good. Started 8 straight on the road. It was the longest season-opening road trip in league history. They were waiting for this to get ready. It's finally here. They played a handful of games at UConn's Rentschler Field in the lead-up.
What a very difficult challenge that was. You know, to play on the road, 8 games on the road, is one thing. To play 8 games on the road as an expansion franchise adds a whole nother level of complexity and difficulty to the equation. It's they got through it. They're still reeling from it a little bit, but you know, they've shown some signs of turning the corner. Had a good result against St. Louis. Had a very good game against Nashville, and you know, I think things are starting to turn. And so far in this game, you can absolutely see that there's been improvement in the team.
It felt like the turned corner was right around the Bethlehem game. They thought they were going in the right direction, and the wheels fell off in that one. But they led against Nashville and ended up letting that lead slip away in the second half.
And they weren't bad against Memphis. And I know 4-1 is you know, doesn't show that they were competitive, but it was 2-1 leading up to the last 10 minutes of the game, and you know, they ended up giving up 2 late goals. And look, Elliot Collier scores 3 goals in the game and becomes the player of the week. So they're turning the corner. They had a bump against Bethlehem Steel, but I think they're showing signs of coming together.
Elliot Collier, player Indy 11 fans know well from year past. It is a free kick for Indy. As the opening 15 minutes, they looked like they were by far the aggressor, but it slowed a bit. Crack toward Hackshaw, lifting up, and Dewey launches up over top of Dane Kelly.
Hackshaw, just keep finding them, huh? Just keep looking for him every restart. As you said, it's easy to pick him out, but he does a good job of getting on the end of the first ball.
Dale, what do you do? I mean, you had Nikolai Linga, who's 6'6". He has left the club. There's a new center back that just came in. We should see Alex Davey later in the game if things progress in that direction. That's the expectation for Jimmy Nielsen, but how do you stop a guy like that?
Yeah, and it's just that, you know, he's athletic, but he's physically strong, and he has an attitude to go get it. He's just, you know, it's part of it's service, which they have guys that can serve a ball.
Lee is looking to serve. Look at Angulo coming into the picture and firing the cross, handled by Newton.
And Gula will have words for Ray Lee when they run back. He will say, give me a better ball next time. He's experienced enough. He's had enough years in the league. He can say those things to younger players.
Former Golden Boot winner in Pittsburgh.
That was the year before I came into the league. He was tremendous, outstanding goal scorer. He was poaching everything he had, every chance he had, he was putting away.
Indy Voltsen off to the corner. Trying to play horseshoes with the flag, came up a bit short. Hartford Athletic would like to recognize Hartford and all its founding partners for the 2019 season. Continued appreciation for the Hartford Athletic organization, fans and those in the community, businesses and otherwise that have put together such a phenomenal first year off the field, one that they're trying to match with their on-field production as they've moved along. Kyle Coringa not available due to yellow card accumulation, but he said in the Current this week, yeah, it's been a tough season, but these fans, they keep cheering us on, and they do feel that love being reciprocated, but so far the results just haven't been nearly enough.
And they're still going strong now. Got a great contingent of supporters.
All for Williams. Zangulo getting a little dust on his boots. And drives this across, got by Newton, and if Barrera could get that to stick, that net was empty.
And Gulo says, you want me to come out wide and provide service? I'll come out wide and provide service. Good changing ball from Williams. Angulo, Ray Lee gets around him to set up a 2v1, and a tremendous service. As Vucic can get a little bit higher, another step, he can make an effort for that, and you may have a goal. That's who Angulo was picking out.
Angulo not a bad assist man when that's where he puts his head to. He talked about that golden boot. It's interesting because he was actually level on goals with Don Dwyer,
yeah,
but it was assist that separated.
He's just a tremendously insightful player. Like in that moment there in the service, he could see if he could bend it around a player, he could get it into Wojcik's path. It was just a matter of he could get the pace right. Just off a little bit.
There have been more impressive moments coming from Hartford. To be fair, you think about their struggles early. Indy last year didn't know what league they were going to be in. That makes it real tough to recruit players. The first 10 games, they only had 9 goals. They were trying to put it all together. They averaged a goal and a half. After that, over the course of the rest of the season, made the playoffs, and this year they have hit the ground running. They also made some big-ticket acquisitions, knowing that they had a league, and Brickyard Battalion has responded in kind.
Doesn't hurt that they found some FC Cincinnati guys. Dane Kelly they find. Tomasini Volson they find.
Coming out of Orange County, having scored, what, 20 goals last year?
Yeah. And that last sequence from Indy got thwarted by center back play. So kudos to Rasmussen and DeVitt. They're holding their own in the center of the back.
Comes off the face of Jorgensen. Carry him out to Ioze. Lee. Second effort a little more convincing. That's got to be a defender's worst nightmare. That's just hanging up there.
Yeah.
And Dane Kelly's 10 feet away.
Yeah. And you're backing up and you don't know where the wide guy is off your shoulder, if he's going to hit you from behind or not.
Watson was looking to have that come to his foot on the second effort. That's well won by Ouimet.
And Wojcik's got to get in and get a foot there. He's got to help his team out that's been defending for a little bit.
King.
They're starting to push the midfield back against Hartford. The Jorgensen and Williams can't get high enough to get any pressure on the ball.
There's the moment from Vucic. He wins a foul out of that.
Yeah.
It's not the most physical effort by Tyler Gibson, but enough of an acting job from Vucic to seal the deal.
But the most impressive was that he got across, got a hold of the ball for you, and that's what he has to do. You know, for him, the game is twofold. It's score goals in the 18, and it's hold up the ball when you can to allow players to come forward with you. If he can do both of those things, then he's going to continue to get minutes from Coach Nielsen. Yeah, this could be. So Hartford has possession in the front half of the field. 3 passes later, it's back to the goalkeeper. They go backwards 80 yards to play a ball forward at to the midfield line, and then they find themselves defending the break. Now they're going to have to defend a restart.
Fucci riding down Matt Watson, which more or less, if you're Fucci, that's about all you can do in that moment.
For sure, for sure. A direct ball gets played into the target. It's a straight pass in. It's the most easily intercepted by a defender. And when they win that, they go straight to goal. It's a dangerous pass to make.
You mentioned guys who can do restarts for Hartford. Indy's got one of the best in this country at any level. Iose really is spectacular. Gonna spend time in La Liga in Spain. Iose punched away. He did enough. And an injured player down. I think that was through the punch of Due. It may be friendly fire. And with a potential head injury, no expense spared to get somebody over there.
We may see Alex Davies before we thought. You certainly don't want injuries. You certainly don't want a head injury. And where Hartford is right now, you can't have a center back. You can't have Sam DeVitt go down.
There were 3 on the Trantolo and Trantolo injury report in the lead up to this game. Dixon went down with a knock about 15 minutes ago, came back in. It was a convenient time for the mandated hydration break due to the heat today. So take another look at how Sam DeVitt picked up the knock here in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, Dewey comes off, catches him in the side of the head. Looks a little bit alert now. Looks okay. It's a very difficult spot as a coach. It's one of the most difficult spots as a coach you can be in. When you have a head injury, and you're looking to get the player back into the game, and yet you don't know if he's cleared, although in this one I think he's fine.
Now let's say it is a little more questionable, and obviously a lot of people thought back to some incidents in the European, the latter stages of Champions League, right? But in the USL Championship, and Jake Edwards, the president of USL, which includes League One and League Two, have talked about maybe expediting what has been a worldwide conversation about how to handle concussions, possibly having a temporary substitute. DeVitt and Nielsen share a hug and a smile as well, so it appears DeVitt is okay. But what do you make of the idea of a potential temporary substitute? Because theoretically, if he does have a concussion, some of those symptoms won't come out until theoretically 5 minutes into halftime. So you either play down a man, or it's difficult, Dale.
I agree. I think a temporary substitute. I think you put a time limit on it, and then after a certain time period, and I'm not talking about a minute or two, and then you have to figure out: are you going to sub? Are you going to play a man down? You know, where are you with the whole substitution thing? I think you have to do it. Otherwise, as a coach, and your job's on the line, you're trying to figure out how to get somebody back into the game that's not ready to go back into the game. There are ways that we can come up with that can make it work and can make it fair, and we have to figure out, but we can, how to eliminate people from trying to take advantage of the rule and use it to their advantage rather than for what the rule is meant for.
Well, the frustration bubbling over a bit there. Tumbling down Barrera. Kept by King. I think maybe the most interesting part to me is the natural concern that you could try and game the system in some way. A 15-minute breather is something I think a lot of players wouldn't mind necessarily if you could bring a set of fresh legs on. I'd like to think, sportsmanship-wise, no one would ever do that. Attack on here. Gibson lays it off. And this effort right at goal.
And that ball came Ball's coming through the gut there as they're able to play through the center of the park. Play in front of the two center backs to get your chance off.
Fans, you can follow Indy 11, Hartford Athletic, and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+. Attack on here, and it rolls right into Newton. But the USL, League One, Championship, MLS, UFC, and more is all there. Over 2 million fans already discovered it. ESPNplus.com. Successfully taken away, but Williams trying to deal with Dane Kelly. That's a bit of a bear.
But Dane Kelly's been fairly quiet. You know, he had the moment early.
Walker won it. Gibson, Indy Voltson trying to allow it through. If that had more pace, Kelly was lurking in the shadows.
Tyler Gibson on one of his rare forays forward. Gets in, penetrates, tries to get a service in, and you're correct. If he smacks the ball across, then we do get the dummy run. Here comes Tyler forward. If he hits it in, then it gets across to Dane. Dinks it in, not a whole lot that Indy Voltson can deal with.
Indy Voltson scores today for Hartford. Nielsen must be looking around. I thought I had every Dane in the league. This guy? Come on. This is a foul. Parkinson goes down. And a free kick for Hartford. Dangerous spot at the start of 4 minutes of stoppage time, which was certainly added to by the hydration break.
This will be Jorgensen hitting it. He will line it up, and he will hit it, and he will try to knuckle it so the ball drops over the wall and underneath the bar. Now, he may put it in the next county, or he may score.
Out of a great academy in Denmark. What can Jorgensen do here? Jorgensen, that deflected and root off the wall and did dip right into Newton.
He can hit the ball. If it clears the wall, it's it really puts Indy in a bad spot. He may have finished it.
I'm sure there were flashbacks to last, 2 weeks ago, really. Indy coming off a bye week. And Angulo catching Macaulay King.
Yeah, maybe in the tackle, keeping his balance. His hand may have got up and clipped him in the side of the face. It's hard, that the hand-to-face card. There's so many moments where you're catching your balance and you get your hands up. It's hard to maintain your balance. And here's the situation: tackle, hand up, gets him in the face. I think you can talk to him, but I don't think you can guard him.
I think you more or less got that discussion right on the head. Go back a second. Indy had a lead against Louisville. Ended up conceding on a Paulo Piccolo free kick. It was certainly a gut punch.
A little closer than what Jorgensen was trying to hit that one from.
True enough. Jose, header is up and over.
The Patty Barricott on the end of that one. He's a battler. Good service, though. It freezes the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper thinks he can come get it, or he needs to stay on his line. It puts him in two minds. That was a near moment.
But DeVitt won it. Crowd appreciates. The hold-up play is on point. The attack is on through Lee.
Guerra's starting to find himself deeper on the field to get the ball. He will not go a game or moments without getting onto the ball. Really a matter of where's he going to be the most useful. Jorgensen trying to play in one. There's no reason for him to play in one touch. It's a matter of seeing the half out at this point. You don't want to give a ball away.
throw coming. Sprayed forward.
Great ball from Rasmussen. And a little bit of skill from Barrera to take that over his shoulder. I first saw Danny Barrera in a Cash League game in Los Angeles.
Yeah?
Yeah, in a men's league game. It was quite an affair.
So that's like when he was with Cal FC?
No, it was just local men's teams that they bring guys in to play, and it was in the off season, and Danny was playing, and he was quite good. And I'll tell you, he wasn't the best player in the field. But I won't tell you who else was out there.
All right. Angulo and Hartford are held scoreless by the league's best defense and a Golden Glove wearing goalkeeper in Evan Newton, one of the league's all-time greats, and a former Jimmy Nielsen charge. These fans waiting for their chance to explode for the first time at Dillon Stadium since the 70s. And it's off to the locker room where hopefully it is a few degrees cooler. This was the scene right before kickoff. Maybe they're just trying to wave a little air around and try and cool things off. Hartford and Indy scoreless at the break. Highlight stats, a look around the league, all coming up after this.
Remember, if you need medical attention, there is a medical station located on the northeast side of the field, underneath the light pole, in the white tent. That's the northeast side of the field, underneath the light pole, in the white tent.
Wait a minute, that's not Hartford and Indy. Who are these people? They're imposters on the field at Dillon Stadium. Dillon Stadium will actually be playing host to far more than just Hartford athletic games. A lot of community events will be here. The Rolling Stones, the Grateful Dead, the Doors, the Grateful Dead again, Kiss, all concerts that Dale and I would both go to if they happen again tomorrow, have been at this venue. As Dillon Stadium opening its doors finally. Plenty of history. For some, relatively ancient. Opened in 1935. It was Municipal Stadium, renamed in '56. And of course, those great NASL teams. Pele played here. I mean, Dale, this is a bastion of history.
It is, and you know, when we got to see players like that and teams like that in the old NASL days, it was very, very special, and the stadium hosted those teams. It's amazing.
Yeah, I spoke to Janusz Mihalik, a former men's national team player, has very fond memories of this stadium from growing up in the area. And Dillon Stadium is open for business again. And there are the patrons, as they're called in some places. Scoreless at halftime, still waiting for its re-inaugural goal. But first, how about we tell you about Cleat Week? Yes, Cleat Week. And Wednesday Night Soccer Week 18's very best all coming up right here as Hartford and Indy are at the halftime break.
Nice little cut in. Here's a terrific effort. Blasted back in, and it's a goal for North Carolina FC. What a rip from Connor Presley as Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it. Slides out the way and in.
The boys in purple have dominated.
Ownby charging on, curling the cross. That's excellent from Hartford. His first goal in Louisville Collins. What a finish for Louisville. They lead.
Cicerone again hitting the cross with pace. Greg! And there's one. The response from Kyle Greg. Russell Cicerone with tremendous service in the second half.
Not statistically kept unless you're keeping a track on mileage. Does a lot off the ball to draw space for his teammates.
Collier weaving his way through. Elliot Collier for the hat trick. There it is! Elliot Collier. It's a great opportunity again here for the Hounds.
He goes for goal.
What a goal!
And when the emotion starts to flow, everyone starts to settle in. Then you can push forward and press the goal.
Rios off the post and in. What a missile that is. Goal number 11 of the year, and Rios with a phenomenal finish.
Jamison can give it a go from there if he wants. Jamison is it back to Billy Forbes. Billy, right foot. Billy puts it in the back of the net.
Hartford Athletics Soccer, Indy 11 and Hartford meeting at newly renovated Dillon Stadium. Alongside Dale Schilling, Mike Watts, and hey, freshly renovated.
Freshly renovated for fresh classics.
Let's take a look at some news and notes from around the championship. Solomon Asante is lighting up the world right now as he is the June Player of the Month. You've been around good Open Cup runs, St. Louis and New Mexico. There's nothing to be disappointed about with the grand scheme of it, right?
No, in the grand scheme of it, that's great. Fans, supporters making the trips. The story of the supporters group heading up from New Mexico to Minnesota was an incredible story, and St. Louis did the same down in Atlanta.
Over 200 fans arriving for St. Louis and New Mexico at respective venues. Minnesota and Miguel Ibarra getting his first goal at Allianz Field. And Atlanta United simply too much. And the Canadian crown is still in Ottawa's future, perhaps, as they knock off Halifax. Let's take a look at the standings around the USL Championships Eastern Conference. The Rowdies in first place. Indy can't grab them now, but with games in hand, you better bet they're going after the top spot.
Yeah, I'm looking at Indy 11. I'm looking at North Carolina. I saw North Carolina play a couple weeks ago, and they keep getting better. And we'll start to see them moving up the ladder. And we've seen Ottawa make a big jump. And we've seen Pittsburgh all of a sudden become a goal-scoring machine. So if you have Bob Lilly throwing shutouts and you have Canardo Forbes leading the team with 3 and 4 goals in a night, you've got a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's right. Watch out for the Riverhounds as we take a look at scores from around the Eastern Conference. Halftime, Atlanta United 2 is struggling a bit with the Roman numeral side, New York Red Bulls 2. How about what Mike Jeffries has done in Charlotte, retaking the helm there? St. Louis might be a little distracted.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game, and Mike's done a great job. It's good, really good to see him back on the sideline. They haven't lost a game since he's been back, and this is a huge game as it is for the final spot in the East.
And Indy will be taking on Loudoun next week. For Hartford, they'll take on Swope Park next week. Neither of them are in action tonight. So, stadium is nearly packed to capacity. Jerseys of many ilk. You see a Manchester City jersey there. Hartford and Indy scoreless at the break. We'll show you highlights from the first half when we return after these messages.
Join Trentolo and Trentolo for the NBA Benefit Ride and Concert on Sunday, July 14th. The motorcycle ride and concert are headed to Sun Valley Resort in Stafford Springs, where Bret Michaels and Grand Funk Railroad will take the stage. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit MDARideCT.com. The MDA Benefit Ride and Concert on Sunday, July 14th. Let's ride, rock, and make a difference.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small in small business.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Buck's got your back.
Nick, you need a decision. These days, we all feel a little anxious sometimes. But if you could see inside my mind, you'd find I'd go to my happy place. See, if we let tensions run the show up here, then our bodies won't perform at their best out here.
Wait, are we going to the sound check?
Priorities. So I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you that how you're doing emotionally affects you physically. Go for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you're feeling, physically and emotionally. Body and mind. Cigna, together all the way.
Welcome back. 10 unbeaten for Indy 11. Trying to make it that number 11, but right now scoreless at the break. Hartford reopening Dillon Stadium, and fresh classics right now overloaded with fans making their way over. And there's pretty decent pizza over there, and I see some mac and cheese with Dale Schilling, Mike Watts. We'll get to that later. Here are your first half highlights. A lot of chances for Walker and Iose to swing in service in that first half.
Yeah, just restarts, I think, in general were a problem for Hartford, and then an opportunity for Indy. And here we put Dane Kelly in, almost goes 5-hole on Dewey. That was really the only time we saw Dane Kelly get his shoulders faced up and run at the goal. Rasmussen tracks well and did a good job defensively. But Hartford was good on the ball. I mean, I thought they played out of the back well. They made good decisions not to give the ball away. I thought Barrera was very influential with that. And here we have Williams just putting one over top of the bar after Wojciech got a hold of the ball and laid it off. You see a big man there, yep, get a hold of it, lays it off, and good opportunity for Williams.
So still scoreless. This is about 30 minutes into the half. Lifted up by Hackshaw, handled by Dewey.
It just Hackshaw's the target every time, but good defending, good matchup from Hartford. And here's Angulo trying to get on the end of a ball played in from Ray. Maybe a little bit too hard for Angulo's liking, but Angulo's been decent, had a couple good services, had an early service that he played in. I think this is the one here where it gets switched out from Williams, clips the ball in, and Wojciech just can't get in deep enough for the service. But that was a dangerous moment. Wojciech was free when Met lost him, and a ball that's dropped down a little bit softer is a real goal-scoring opportunity.
Here are your first half stats. Any of this really surprise you?
No, I think, and this is the way the game's going to look. 60-40 is about where possession is going to end up. As long as Hartford is okay with defending and patient with how they keep their shape on the defending side, they're going to make it difficult for Indy to get in.
There was some news that came up last week, and it's news we'd like to tell you about. We'd like to congratulate Vice President of Broadcasting for the United Soccer League, Brad Baker, the entire Baker family. The birth of Noah Madison Baker, born Tuesday night, July the 9th. Mom and Noah doing great. We're excited for the league's newest fan. It's rumored that he's looking for an expansion franchise, so one of the 7 might gain a new fan here. Whoever sends a scarf first, I think, is the winner of that one.
Will take the stage. To purchase tickets, visit MDA.
Everybody ready for the second half. Fans making their way back
Sunday, July 14th,
from the concession stand.
Rock and make a difference.
Indy may be kicking themselves for not finishing a couple of those chances. You're not going to be afforded a good number of chances in this league, regardless of who you're playing, and they missed 2 or 3 golden opportunities early, and now they're going to have to figure out how to create those moments again against an inspired Hartford team. They seem motivated. They've been organized.
Bouncing in, Barrett back to Newton. Had some really good years in Sacramento and with Jimmy Nielsen in Oklahoma City. Just before Cody Lorendi took the reins there, and has large part held that role ever since. After a ACL injury, he's back in the saddle. Vucic. Barrera running through. Hackshaw trying to cover ground. Barrera steps in front. Hackshaw will really get that off Barrera. It's a goal kick.
If that's the case, Hackshaw did a tremendous job. You saw Barrera's albatross. He's not the paciest. He's going to get on the ball. He wants it at his feet. But a good opportunity. Williams with a nice little ball in. It's the first time we saw Williams really play forward into Wojciech's feet.
Knock picked up here. To see where that went down for Dane Kelly. Well, maybe not so much. 71 goals in his career in the USL's regular season. Number 17 will attempt to walk this off.
Well, that's one way to prevent Dane from running past you, is not to allow him to turn, to get up against him and get him before he gets ahead of steam.
I think he's going to be on the injury report in the 3rd minute of this second half. You mentioned the inability to seal a few chances for Indy in that first half. I think they felt they really could have put Louisville to the sword early in their last game 2 weeks ago, and not allowed a single free kick moment to change the number of points they took out of that game. Martin Rennie said to the local paper this week, I give our season an A, but our finishing could be a little better in the final third as Kelly trots onto this.
As the games get more testy, they're going to have to put those chances away. This game should not be in the balance right now. They've allowed Hartford to feel confident, to feel good about where they're at, to go into a locker room with a certain spirit, and it's because they didn't finish a chance or two early. But credit to Hartford for grabbing the game by the neck then and getting better and growing into the game as it progressed.
It is funny, you were asking Jimmy Nielsen this week, hey, I thought you guys played pretty well in one of these recent games, and you felt the team lost confidence. Why? And you really have an answer for that. Well, right now, probably pretty emboldened that you've dodged a few bullets.
Yeah, for sure. That was the Nashville game. Nashville, they were up 2-1 at one point in the second half and gave up 2 goals later in the half. Not late in the half, but later in the half to drop 3-2. And Jimmy felt like the guys took it in the gut, and that their performances against Bethlehem Steel and Memphis were a reaction, a response to the Nashville result. I thought they played well. And they're, after the first 10 or 15 minutes of this game, I think the last 30, Hartford's done very well. I think Indy's been a little bit better, but they've done. Hartford has played very well.
There's Jimmy. Jose getting out of a little bit of trouble and a little knock along the way. Free kick.
Jose's been very good. He's been on the ball a lot. He's been very influential with how the game's been played. Tyler Gibson as well. Had quite a few touches.
Here's again in the middle of it. Reeves saying that's a clean play off the shoulder. And lined up, caught by Due. 5 minutes into the second half. Scoreless affair. Indy second in the East. Have games in hand to catch Tampa Bay, who had that phenomenal unbeaten start. Right now it's 10 unbeaten for Indy. They haven't lost at home since the 4th of July last year to Ottawa. And I asked you before the game, Dale, if you thought they were maybe the best team in the league right now as constituted. That's not just short what Neil Collins has done in Tampa Bay, the takeaway from the twice reigning league champion Louisville City, or you go down the list. But this team looks like if they're hitting on all cylinders, even Nashville, they could compete with anybody in the East.
Agree, but why aren't they ahead right now? They haven't scored yet. They've had their moments to score. Should they be opening the game up even more? A team that's moved a center midfield player to the center of the back. They moved Schwartz to the outside back position. So, I think there's probably something a little bit more dynamic. There's probably a little bit more that has to happen with Indy before I'm ready to jump on and say, yeah, they're the group. I think there's 3 or 4 teams right now in the East that are all going to be fighting for it. 3 of them I think we've talked about, and I think North Carolina's coming along.
Yeah. Really on it. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't all that insightful necessarily from NCFC, but Dave Sarakin's got that group rudder headed in the right direction, no doubt.
Yeah, just very composed, very Dave Sarakin-like.
Yeah.
Very composed, very insightful, super organized, extremely efficient. Center forwards, very dangerous. They got 3 different center forwards now that are all good center forwards, and he doesn't feel like he has to play them all at the same time. He figures out which ones are best for which games. Waiting for Eni Volson to come on and do something here to threaten goal or to set up. He's been pretty quiet, and I know that he can be quiet and then come up and pull one out, but he hasn't. Here's Schwartz with hard work.
Excellent, looking for Barrera. Oh, that got a little risque.
Eddie Barrett not taking any chances there. Wasn't quite panicked, but it certainly wasn't composed.
Looked at the sunk cost and said, eh.
Yeah, exactly right. Said it's not worth the risk, which is fine.
Lee leading Angulo. Comes off the heel of King.
Angulo forgot to talk to him last time. needs to get Ray Lee's going to slow the ball down a little bit. Angulo's not 22.
Barrera, and this ball struck over the crossbar, and Hartford a couple of minutes here.
We spoke about it, and I don't want to belabor the point, but Indy let him off the hook a little early, and now Hartford's starting to grow into it. Barrera, and he gets the ball in certain positions, can make some decisions that create chances for you. Hartford's gaining in confidence. But it's now when they have to watch themselves. When they think they can press and they can push their numbers higher, that's when Dane Kelly and company can be so dangerous. You know, I've seen DeVitt play the last couple games where it felt like he was trying to do a little bit too much, that he was trying to be more than just a center back. Today it feels like that he is defending first. He's not getting involved by getting too high up the field. He's not trying to take a risk by dribbling out of the back in precarious situations. It's been more solid.
Jorgensen.
Have to threaten how they're going to get behind, or they're going to have to get around the ends and get service.
There it is. Well, there's a little frustration there. I'm not sure that you can blow your whistle on that. DeVitt steps in, prevents the counter by Kelly.
Ball's got to be overhit from Yves Olsen. When you have Dane Kelly on your front line, you don't want the through ball to get cut out because it's short. You'd rather watch Dane run at it and try to save it from the end line. Good pressure from Dane Kelly on the defending side. Rasmussen, as expected, has been very good in distribution from the center back spot. Hasn't given a ball away, been very safe, and played a couple balls in behind the back four for Indy.
Ball played through. Chance for Dixon! Strikes the crossbar. Tattooed a Select logo right onto it. That could have been the first goal in 4 decades. Dillon Stadium. Another effort is wide of the post. And Athletic have come totally alive in the last 5 minutes. The crowd adores it.
And all the energy is in Hartford right now. The midfield playing through. Danny Barrera putting Alex Dixon in after a 1-2. Off the bar at the near post. Great run from Dixon, an unbelievable ball from Danny Barrera, but after a great little 1-2 that we played back up with Wojciech and back into Barrera, that's a really good combination. They're looking to get together a little bit more, it's starting to create a little understanding.
Lloyd Reddy thought maybe Hartford would be galvanized. Right now their fans certainly are. Ball for Kelly.
But as Hartford gets more on the ball and as Hartford's able to play in the front half of the field more, Dane Kelly becomes more dangerous. Your rest defending, how you defend behind the ball becomes more important.
Laid forward, and Lee handles that. Due kicks it away, and there's time now to vote for your Cigna Man of the Match on Twitter. You're using the hashtag CignaMOTM. Is this the moment? Jose Angulo! Dillon Stadium alive again! Athletic lead! Your man of the match, your moment of the match. Dillon Stadium rocking again.
You could see it coming. And what a better guy to get it. Great little combination play. Barrera gets on the end of it, slips Angulo, and he is not going to miss that chance. Angulo scores goals like that in his sleep. He hits them all the time. He runs at players. He puts it on his left foot, and he slots it. What is that, 51?
51.
51. And what a great time to get it in front of the home fans in the new stadium. You could feel it coming. It was a matter of time. 3-4 chances over the last 5 or 10 minutes. And Danny Barrera made an impact on the game. Great little ball, had a great ball in for Alex Dixon for the ball off the crossbar. Now he slips Angulo in. Now, how are you going to deal with the success?
Ilya Illich has not played in a very long time. First appearance since the opener in March. And a man who had double-digit goals and assists returns for Indy 11, replacing Matt Watson.
Good to see Illich play. Let's see what he's got. He's a good share of the ball. He's a good teammate in that he sets people up for goals. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in with his layoff. But the qualities that we've seen from him in the past, we'll need to see from, or Indy will need to see from him in order to pull a goal back.
That is just the 11th goal allowed by Indy 11 this year. Kenny Walker steps it aside. Illich was actually a trialist for Louisville City, and he watched as player after player stepped in front of him year after year, and last year exploded onto the scene after James O'Connor spent 3 seasons telling me, no, we really think this kid's good. We think he's going to have his moment. It came.
He's a soccer player. He's a baller. He's not overly athletic. He's just really good feet, really good insight, and like I said, a very good teammate in that he sets people up.
Well, a free kick for Indy 11 to try and jump back into this thing. They conceded less than 3 minutes ago. And that'll leap out. Goal kick for Douay. With a quick moment, I do want to congratulate JP Delacameron and Shep Messing. They ran the Connecticut Fusion this year, a women's team in the United Women's Soccer League, and they went to the playoffs. They fell to the Lancaster Inferno, but congratulations to them on a wonderful first year. JP and Shep both are legends, both in the broadcast realm and in the playing realm in Shep's case. And both have given so much to the state of Connecticut over the years. So congratulations to them. And worth noting, Twin Chopra actually reported the NWSL and Indy 11 might be a perfect fit down the line, which would be pretty special too. Paul Frioze's cut out. There's Illich.
Good defending from Schwartz on the header. That's a difficult ball to deal with. The big diagonal over your head as an outside back.
If you're Indy 11, are these your fears realized? You got Hartford on maybe the most difficult day of the calendar year.
And you missed a few chances, and it felt pretty easy at that point. You know, 10, 15 minutes in, it felt like that you were cruising. You could create chances whenever you wanted.
Lee lifted away. From Kelly.
Indy just can't find the attacking rhythm right now. They haven't gotten in behind for a while. I would say since the 10th or 15th minute. Almost Ina Volson can't find the ball.
At 3, slinking back into position, it's Angulo. Lost it between his feet, a little air out of the crowd. Walker stepped in. The last time this Indy 11 side conceded first was against Loudoun in the middle of June. They ended up coming back to win that game. Not a team that plays from behind much, and that's a testament to what they've done this year. It's a real concern. This is hammered off target.
You know, to be honest, Hartford could keep the ball for a while. Indy's struggling to get pressure against the ball and get it off of them when they're willing to keep it. You know, that's Williams with a little bit of a cramp. Thought he looked a little awkward when he went to hit it.
actually, come to think of it, this is only the 3rd time this year in the league that Indy 11 didn't have one of their players score the opening goal. The Loudon game, this game, and the own goal by Nikolai Lingo from Hartford in Indy's net. So only conceded first twice. Nicky Downs waiting to come on.
Be interesting to see if they put Downs as a right back. Looks like Alex Dixon will be coming off. So will Downs play as a right back and Schwartz move into midfield? Will it keep Schwartz where he's had a pretty decent game as a right back and move down and allow Downs just to go straight in swap with Dixon?
Enough for Dixon. He picked up that knock 25 minutes into the game. Didn't look like it really affected him along the way, but
he's going to be sore tomorrow. He'll be sore tomorrow. He'd like to have the one chance back that he hit the bar. He struck it well.
This has got to be some kind of moment for Nicky Downs, if you think about it. Professional soccer, not in his home state for his entire lifetime. Goes to Yale. His dad, Chris, was his coach. Went to the Hotchkiss School, on to Yale. Got his degree in economics. And then a local club starts, and the kid from Lakeville, Connecticut, is playing in Dillon Stadium's opening game since the renovation. And there he is, getting right into Iose, conceding a foul.
Indy moved some players around there, got Schwartz pulled inside, left Downs isolated in that outside channel. There we see Schwartz tucked in, Downs having to recover as Iose got high off his shoulder and put Downs in a position where he had to track. Now Hartford's going to have to defend on the restart. You know who the target's going to be. You know, the other part you got good guys for Indy that can challenge, but you have Kenny Walker sitting out top at the top of the box looking for a second ball, and he can absolutely rip a ball.
He scored a goal against Ottawa last year that was #1 on SportsCenter Top 10. Iose had her down and wide. Patty Barrett sprinting forward, spears it out of play.
He absolutely wants that back. That's a back. You head that back to the post it comes from, and you're at 1-1. Good service by Ozzy. Spins it, just tantalizes Due as it goes across him across the 6. Patty Barrett heads it back, misses at the near post.
Hartford did get a draw in their official home opener at Rentschler Field. Looking for a win in their first at Dillon Stadium. What a shock that would be to the system of an Indy 11 side that hasn't lost in the league in quite some time. Their last loss was April the 28th against Red Bull 2. That's turned over horribly. Eni Voltson. Offside flag raised on Dane Kelly as he trotted back into position.
This is going to say a lot about Indy. What happens over the next 20 minutes, 22 minutes, whatever we have extra time. Like we've already talked about, you know, the first 15 minutes or so, they looked sharp. It looked like they had the game going any direction that they wanted. They lost the hold of the game, and now we have to see if they can get it back again. You would assume they have it in them because of the 10-game streak. But we haven't seen it all come together for them. A bad pass here, a missed opportunity there, and offsides here. They just can't seem to find the game all at the same time.
Kelly went sliding into Swartz, the Needham, Massachusetts native, and Nielsen is asking questions to the fourth official. How is Jimmy wearing dark colors today?
He's got blonde hair.
That never helped me.
Rasmussen covering for Schwartz, who pinched up. Center back had to cover him behind.
That's a party foul. That's first time at a new home kind of deal. Slowly move the balls down to the security man. Iose curls service to the back post. Not away from Indy Voltson. It was Macaulay King coming in. I think Lee got the wrong end of this.
That's the moment we spoke about Lee in the first half, where he wasn't sure about what was happening behind him. It's sort of a tenuous situation for the outside back to go and challenge on that header. And that's your worst fears realized. But you have to be courageous. You have to get up and challenge for that. The ball's headed back across the face there, and you are talking about one-to-one. And Gulo spending time way back in the back third of the field. He hasn't seen a whole lot in his career, but doing what he can to get the result.
At this point, it's all hands on deck for Hartford, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And you know, they don't want to all of a sudden sit in and defend. There's too many weapons they're going against, and they've had what they need to do in terms of possession and putting people in.
Barrera, Vucic turns it, fires it, scores it. Hartford by 2. A former Indy 11 man putting a dagger to Indy 11. And 2 of Jimmy Nielsen's most trusted confidants of years past, giving him the most significant win of his Hartford tenure, if they can hold on.
Danny Barrera found another gap. He continues to find gaps behind their back four, and he's not that fast. He slides in, finds the ball for Wojcik. Wojcik cuts it back off his favored left, puts it onto his right. Side netting. 2-0 Hartford. Wojcik with a tremendous goal. Danny Barrera with a great run in behind to hold the ball up and slip it in for Wojcik. Well, we said it before, what's going to be the response?
If you told me on March 9th that Vucic's goal would come July 13th, his first in Hartford colors, I think everybody would be concerned about the trajectory of the season. Perhaps that's true, but he's on the board now.
And a relief. Not just from him, but from the team. When the goal scored, I'm sure there was celebration in the corner from the subs and everybody on the bench because of going up 2-0. But I'm sure a lot of it was because Wojcik finally got the collar off his neck and finished the chance. Got his first goal of the year.
Macaulay King checked out after that goal, and Tyler Pasher has come on, the man who's had a phenomenal run of scoring form. One wonders if it's too little, too late. Time will tell. There's an element of first impressions matter. I think not 5,000 on hand. I think this is a first impression Hartford simply had to make.
You couldn't draw it up any better. You could not draw it up any better. The fans are loving the game. It's been a good game. It's been a good game. It's been, you know, opportunities on both sides. ebbs and flows in terms of when the chances came for each of the two teams. It's been decent soccer in terms of possession as well. So we have what? Iozzi on the right, Asher on the left. Indy, Volson, and Illich underneath Dane Kelly.
This is an Indy side that had grabbed 7 out of 9 points in a 3-game week before this 13, 14-day layoff.
Boy, you know, and that's interesting. You know, I was thinking about that 2-week layoff. They probably needed it. When you throw 6 games in June, and you have Open Cup games in there. I don't know when they had played, but you throw that in as well. But it also, it does allow you to heal. It does allow you to rest, but it also takes you away from your rhythm. And it sometimes takes some time to find that, to find your form that you were in. And right now, Indy doesn't look like they're in sync. Just a little bit off.
Away. That was May 29th, their last Open Cup game. So you're talking 7 games in 30 to 35 days. I think they appropriately took a little time, deserved.
For sure. Yeah, they took some time off to, you know, get their minds right, heal, refresh. But there is a reacclimation period that that you go through to find your form. And when you're in that rhythm and you're in the form of where you were and you've won those games, you don't necessarily want to stop. Good ball in, Illich's feet.
Today's attendance is 5,500, which is a total sellout.
It is an official sellout.
For all your support.
5,500. It's actually below the season average for Hartford Athletic. Played their early games at a larger venue.
So we have Williams dealing with the cramps. This is the second time down. Is it time to bring Davies?
You bring in Davey and maybe you move Rasmussen up.
Exactly right. Yeah, you push Rasmussen higher. Although you hate to break the rhythm, Rasmussen has been quite good in the back. I think he's done more organizing than actual defending outside of the one he took in the chops when he blocked the shot in the first half. But you know, that might be the best move.
I'm interested to see how things progress. As Angulo making his way off, Davey will come on, and Angulo with a moment that everybody in this stadium will remember. The opening goal at Dillon Stadium since the renovation.
Yeah, that's Angulo when the ball can get played out in front of him, and he's not running 60 yards. He's got a 20, 22-yard little stint and a little bit of space in front of him, and he just can slot it side netting. He's very good, very, very good finisher.
So Angulo is done, but he's got to go to the bench.
Not yet. He's not done yet. He's not done yet. Jimmy may keep Williams in, or take Williams off.
They're going to adjust the. Obviously, Angulo ran over thinking his number was up. And I think that injury may change, like you're saying, the trajectory of this. There he goes. So Angulo is headed off. There was a little momentary consternation there. Well done by Angulo, his 51st goal. And Davey, who was formed at a small club overseas named Chelsea, will come on. Home to that Christian Pulisic, and now the return of Frank Lampard, those guys.
They wear blue.
Yeah.
So Davey is supposed to be a beast in the air, according to Coach Jimmy, and they're going to need it. If they have to defend restarts and corner kicks as the game winds down, he'll have to prove his worth, or at least have the opportunity to prove his worth.
And this will be the last change. It's a short bench for Hartford tonight. Max Steves, the forward from Needham, Massachusetts, who played for the Boston Bolts, played for Providence College, makes his way in. Dealt with a devastating hip injury last year. Been a useful piece both as a starter and off the bench. That's enough for Williams, who dealt with that injury. But luckily, everything kind of works out here, right?
It does. I'd like to see how they line up.
Jose speared out and lifted over. So essentially, you could argue that the subs were 2 minutes apart. Angulo for Steves, and essentially you bring in Davey for Williams and get the extra defender, and it's sort of the way it feels.
We'll see. We'll see. It's still some question in my mind how I don't see Jimmy playing with 3 center backs. He's rarely done that over the last years. So it looks like 4-4-2. It looks like Danny Barrera may play wide left.
Barrera, Downs. Dismissive wave of the hand. He was going to shoot his shot.
Got a little excited.
Hartford Athletic proud to welcome Stanley Black & Decker as a founding partner. Stay tuned each week for the Stanley Innovative Play of the Game. Got options for that this evening.
So Hartford will play 4-4-1-1. They'll put Steve underneath Wojcik. They'll leave Davey as a center midfield player to defend, help clog things up, win tackles. They'll keep Rasmussen in the center of the back.
He has been very vocal moving players around. Davey.
We see how Barrera's going to play as a wide guy. He's going to tuck in. Good possession from Hartford.
Pushing into the final third, touched over by Swartz, comes to Downs, crossing back post, header handled by Newton, who fires out the other way, and Indy unable to get that any further than Lee. Barrera, play on. Barrera crossing, and well, that was even easier for Newton. And an injured player down is Gibson.
And the heat is taking its toll. They have cramps.
So Gibson is attended to, and we'll tell you that you can get your updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. You can search for Indy 11 or Hartford Athletic or any team in the league and click the follow button. Keep up with the latest news and scores, plus get reminders on your team's next match. Go to ESPN.com now, click the follow button for your club. Make sure you tune in with us for the game of the week. Continues Wednesday Night Soccer, ESPN3, July the 17th. See that right on the ESPN app, and on WatchESPN.com. North Carolina FC tries to stay near the top of the East. USL newcomers, Loudoun United, look to continue their ascent, looking for a playoff spot. You'll see it all live July 17th on ESPN3.
Almost looks like he's got cramps in his hamstrings. You know, it's one thing when you get cramps in your calves, you feel like you can't move your lower leg, but when you get them a little bit higher up your legs as well, you feel like you can only move your hips to move your legs. And he's walking pretty gingerly across.
Tyler Gibson is an interesting case in the way things went last year for FC Cincinnati. Alan Koch told me early in the year, this is a guy we expected a ton from, and he obviously picks up a nasty injury, a fractured fibula in February, They actually end up getting Richie Ryan shortly thereafter, which maybe wasn't part of the plan initially. Jahate will come on, a former trialist out of Senegal.
It's a lot of stoppages, okay? Make sure
Yeah, you know, at this point, Martin Rennie is putting any attacking piece he can into the game. I'm sure that the game will get more direct from the Indy 11 side.
These Hartford fans, they get it. Dos Acero. Indy beat them 1-0 earlier this year, an own goal by Nikolai Linga, who was released by the club on mutual terms last week. Dane Kelly, one of the most prolific goal scorers in the championship's history. Statistics will say simply the great goal scorer in league history. Ball knocked ahead. Illich can't connect.
It's going to be hard to get in from over top of the back four from a central channel.
Martin Rennie very much disagrees with this. Dane Kelly kept it in.
So it looks as though Dane Kelly is pushed wide into the outside channel. And Jahate playing more as the center forward.
There's Martin Rennie. A really enjoyable guy to have a conversation with. Sharp-witted.
Yeah.
And intelligent.
And very intelligent.
He's only seen his team give up 10 goals in the opening 16 games of the year, but twice now to Hartford, a team that struggled to string goals together. He only had 17 coming in. That was 14th in the East out of 18. Ball flicked over the top. Pasher, who's been quite quiet, header down in the 6-yard box. This cleared away. They're pointing to the penalty spot. It was a handball near the goal line. Indy can grab one back, and if they do, it's anybody's game from there. The AR will have a chat with the referee. I think the referee is going to continue on with this, and he's reminding everybody stoppage time, which will very much be in Indy's favor, is continuing to collect. Shocking turn of events here, Dale.
And it's how many times you've seen Tyler Pasher through the course of the year play a 1-2 at the top of the box, get it back, and either score or provide service. Here's the 1-2, gets it back, provide service. Header, Dane Kelly gets on it. Boy, it's hard to see. It looks like that DeWitt's arm is next to his body unless it hits the one across the front of his body. Iose.
Chance here to grab one back. Iose has done that. And a hip check from Dewey. Indy 11 scores in the 88th. And it's a 1-goal game in the dying moments.
Iose's committed to a position, doesn't change his mind, doesn't try to send the keeper one way, go another. He just picks his spot, rips it. But that's predictable because he's such a good ball striker. Good restart.
His first goal of the season, and the tails are up right now on Indy 11.
Hartford's going to be tested now. Their character's going to be tested. They feel like they've got maybe done in a little bit on the call. They had a 2-0 lead. Be interesting to see what kind of injury time we have. And Indy is going to throw everything at them but the kitchen sink.
And I would imagine it's going to be sizable. Multiple players going down with what were apparent cramps. And Vucic brought down from behind, and a yellow card shown to Hackshaw.
don't think anything malicious here on Neville's part. He's just in transition, trying to get on the inside.
The referee has assessed a yellow card.
Clips him. It's a yellow card.
Number 15, Neville Hackshaw in the 89th minute.
Don't think he was trying to make a professional foul, to be honest.
So get through Barrera.
Make sure we get this right, man.
Iosse's still going, and so much on the ball.
There goes Pasher, and that's lifted over. It just got caught a little between his feet before he struck it. You just sort of wondered, given how well Pasher played in June, 5 goals in the month, if this is his moment to come off the bench. 5 added minutes of stoppage time.
You wonder in that moment, did Pasher just have a glimpse of individualism where he just thought he could get it done on his own, or did he miss-hit it because it was caught up underneath him? Indy Volson was at the PK spot, a ball chopped back. Certainly would have been an opportunity.
Hackshaw, won by DeVitt.
Surprise. Coach Nielsen hasn't put Davey into the center of a 5-man back and let him deal with the flighted balls. Right now, flighted balls are going over his head.
Another piece of direct play. Downs concedes a corner.
We may see a few of these before the end of the game.
Indy is flying around right now in search of an equalizer.
Smart move here. I know it takes time, but you want your best server of the ball on any restart you get.
Jose.
Well, announcer's curse.
Update from elsewhere. New York Red Bulls 2 taking on Atlanta United 2. It's now 8-1 with a 4-goal performance by Chris Lima. He is now first player in the league this year with a 4-goal night.
You know, that could be a team that you have to consider every year. Coach Wolniak gets them there every year, even in an MLS2 situation. They're competing.
Advantage played. It's a good play out for everybody. Pasher from Walker delivered a rifled pass. Pasher will deflect away.
Good work from Dane Kelly to get across to the near post. I think that was Rasmussen on the clearance and defensive box defending.
Oh my goodness, Davey was making a run. The center back turned center midfielder, nearly turned center forward. That would have been some kind of debut.
And he's back already.
2.5 minutes gone in this stoppage time. Good run forward, struck effort. Karam's out, another Indy 11 corner. And Dale, I think announcer's curse aside, you don't expect the same service second time around from Iose.
Agree. Hartford have to get their matchups right. They go short.
Pasher, Iose, the back heel. Pasher, the cross.
Got to beat the first defender. It's just an expectation at this level that you don't allow the guy at the near post to clip or to win a defensive header.
It's Walker. Pasher turned it over, looking to level things along the top of the 18. Can Hartford put a nail in Indy's coffin here? Jorgensen will move to the corner. He had no help.
Credit to Jorgensen. He's had a good game on the defending side as well, and I question his ability to defend in there. Barrera with an amazing bit of skill there.
I did question that square ball.
But an amazing amount of skill to deal with the ball out of the air under pressure and calmly slips it. Hartford showing confidence in that they're going to play possession over the full field. And Indy's tired.
A lot of energy on a 90-degree day. They have conceded first so rarely this year. Right now they're feeling it. Downs, Connecticut native, knocked down Newton. He could have been icing on the cake. Indy granted another chance.
He will think about that one forever.
Especially if Pasher and Indy come down here and equalize. Lee stepping out, making it a bit more difficult. Jose's on the ball. Throw Indy, and they do have a long throw on this roster.
Downs had the whole back post to shoot at. When he sees the video again, he's going to kick himself.
This might be the last chance of this game. Referee won't let it happen. Full time, Dillon Stadium. A perfect homecoming for Hartford Athletic. A 2-1 win.
Boy, you don't see that very often. A long throw-in opportunity. A long throw-in opportunity. And the referee blows the whistle.
Staggering. We're a little slow to take it. I think the referee ran out of patience. You're seeing the man of the match. Danny Barrera, his passing unlocking an Indy defense that had been ironclad all year.
And his passing was brilliant. His transition was brilliant. But I really liked the fact that he was a calming factor for the team and that he wanted the ball at his feet. He didn't want to turn it into a game that was going to be racehorse up and down the field. And the last piece was just the quality of his balls in for goals. And here's a case in point as he slips the ball, perfectly weighted for Angulo to get onto. Angulo hits it in the first touch. He doesn't have to take a touch to deal with the ball or change the angle. Barrera puts it right in his path.
Hartford Athletic proud to welcome Stanley Black & Decker. They're a founding partner, and you can stay tuned each week for that Stanley Innovative Play of the Game. We talked at the outset about this being one of those days where it feels like it's a new season. And Dillon Stadium providing the perfect backdrop tonight for Hartford Athletic. This is going to turn heads all around the championship. Indy had their chances, but it's Angulo and Vucic, Nielsen's old friends, Hartford's new heroes. Hartford 2, Indy 1. We'll wrap it up when we return. Yeah, that scoreline is right. Welcome back, Hartford. This is a giant win, their third of the year, as they escape the basement in the USL Championships Eastern Conference against Indy 11, who are 5 points back of first in the conference. And this is a great performance to open up Dillon Stadium. Mike Watts, Dale Schilly. Dale, walk us through the highlights, including that early effort that looked like it would have been the best chance for Hartford to win this thing.
Well, just Danny Barrera in the front third of the field. There he finds Alex Dixon off a switch. Here he puts Angulo in. Angulo doesn't have to take a controlling touch. He just is able to hit it first time because Barrera paces the ball so appropriately. And Angulo just slots it. He's done that 50 times. He's, go up 1-0, and Hartford and Danny Barrera are controlling the game. Then again, Barrera squares up Wojcik. Wojcik takes it across his body, finishes at the back post. 2-0, and again, Barrera gets the assist, his second of the game, and Hartford finds himself up 2-0 in a good, solid performance from Hartford. It felt like that they got confident as the game went on, felt like they grew into the game, and on the other side, Indy 11 just couldn't quite find it. Here we get a PK call as Tyler Pasher comes off a 1-2 service. Dane Kelly, Iozzi buries the PK, and certainly made it interesting as we had a couple of restarts there at the end of the game that could have earned Indy a point. But credit to Hartford for fighting through the restarts.
If you're going to beat Indy and you're Hartford, you're going to have to concede possession. They did that. They defended enough to stop Indy in the first half, and then they go and get their winner.
Yeah, we thought the game would be 60-40 possession for Indy, but if you're on the ball 60% against Indy, that means Dane Kelly's going to get a different type of look at the goal, which would be on the counterattack.
Hey, it's the tuba and a saxophone, and that band is going to be back together again soon. 10 of the last 16 games for Hartford will come at Dillon Stadium, and they're enjoying this moment. Make no mistake, Indy 11 going to move within 2 points of the Rowdies, and they come up short on the road. Angulo scoring in the 58th, Vucic in the 72nd. Wow. For Dale Schilly, producer Sharni Yerke, director Gage Tillotson, Manny Simone, entire Vista World Link team at Dillon Stadium, Mike Watts saying, thanks for watching. Hartford a winner. They push all their chips into the middle of the table, and Jimmy's dancing. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.